Welcome to Table Talk Reviews. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at River Wild and its expansion Wildscapes. This is a single-player game from designer Steven Aramini, co-designer of Sprawlopolis and Circle the Wagons, and published by Button Shy, who specializes in these 18-card wallet games. Let me show you how to play, and then I'll share my thoughts. To set up River Wild, place the source card at the top of your play area, being sure to leave plenty of space to build your river. Then set the scoring reminder card off to the side for later, and shuffle the remaining 16 cards to form your deck. Draw 3 cards for your starting hand, and set the deck aside. The game will be played over a series of rounds, where you'll play one of the cards to extend the river downwards, trying to form different areas of land fully surrounded by water or mountains. Those are called protected lands. After you play a card, you'll draw another card from the deck to your hand, and once all cards have been played, or you can no longer play any of the remaining cards, you'll score all the protected lands in your river and see how you did. When placing a card on your turn, it must be placed upright. You cannot rotate a card upside down to connect it to the source. You can, however, flip the cards and they're mirror images of themselves. So you can place this aligned by a full card's edge or offset by half a card. Cards must always match land to land and water to water or to mountains. So I can connect the river here and then connect here. This river connects to the river as well as to the mountains. This is acceptable. You must also, when placing your card, extend the river downwards from the source. So that is to say, in this case, even though I might want to get more unicorns on this protected land, I can't place this card here because it's not extending the river down from the source. Even if I'm planning to connect a card here later that would do so, I must wait and place a card here first and then extend the river down this way. Here in this case, this is also not a legal placement. The river is not extending down and I have land connected to water. This is not allowed. Once all of the cards have been played or the remaining cards can't be played, we'll proceed to scoring. There's a basic scoring of 2 points per completed protected land, and then every goal contained within a protected land will score. Let's look at how those goals score now. Goals with the animal icons will score the indicated number of points for sets of the matching animal type. Points will be scored based on the size of the protected land. If it is the largest protected land, that is the land made up of the most cards. This one is made of 4. It will score the smaller number, 1 point. All other protected lands will score the larger value points for all of their goals. If you have multiple protected lands of the same largest size, you can choose which one to consider as the largest. So here, this dragon will score me 2 points. Let's say it's not the largest protected land I have, and I have this scoring goal that wants a set of dragon and frog. I only have a dragon and a unicorn, but that brings me to these rune stones. Rune stones are considered wild. They'll contribute 1 wild animal to the protected land they're adjacent to. In this case, it is only this island, but it could be, if you got this card in the center of your river, you would complete protected lands on both sides of the card, and the runestone would contribute an animal to this protected land and an animal to this protected land. In that case, you can choose different animals for both protected lands. So here I might choose this to be another dragon and score another 2 points, or better yet, I can choose it to be a frog and score this one for 4 points and that one for 2 points. You can see in this example here that this runestone is between 2 protected lands, and it would contribute 1 to this protected land and this protected land. This is also a good example of how mountains break up protected lands. This looks like a protected land made up of 6 cards, but it's actually 1 small one made up of 2 and 1 made up of 4. These are separate protected lands. which is unfortunate because this scoring goal would be pretty good with these two as well as the runestones there. This goal will score points, 8 or 4, if you have one of each animal type on that protected land. In this case, I have a frog, a jackalope, and a unicorn. I'm just missing a dragon, but luckily there's this runestone to act as a wild, so I can use it as a dragon and score 8 points. This goal is to have 5 animals of any type, and you will score 8 or 4 points. In this case, I have 2 jackalopes, 1 unicorn, and 2 runestones providing wild animals, which allows me to have 5 for 8 points. Here's an example endgame. Let's walk through the full scoring. The first thing you'll do is score 2 points per protected land. I have 1 here of size 4, 2 of size 2, and 1 of size 6. 4 completed protected lands, 2 points each is 8 points. This is the largest protected land, so my goals in this land will be scoring the smaller value. So here I have a set of frog and jackalope for 2 points, and a jackalope for 1 point. The unicorns don't contribute to any of the goals on the land, so they score nothing. I have 2 runestones that I can decide what to make them. In this case, if I made them both jackalopes, I would score an additional 2 points. However, if I made one a jackalope and one a frog, I would score another set of this for 2 points and another 1 point for the additional jackalope. So in this case, I will score 6 points for 2 sets of this goal for 4 and 2 sets of this for 2. These 2 protected lands, the animals didn't match the scoring conditions, but I still scored 2 points for each of them for completing those lands. Up here, I have a set of unicorn and frog for 4 points and a frog for 2 points. You'll note that the frog scores for both, but if I make this a unicorn, for example, I can't score this frog with this unicorn and also this frog with this unicorn. Each animal can only be counted towards the scoring condition 1 time, but it will count for all scoring conditions on that protected land. So it'll be best to make this a frog. I'll score 2 frogs for 4 points, 1 set for 4 points, and that is 8 points. You can total that up and see how you did. In this case, I did not score very well because I didn't use all the cards in this example and had a lot of protected lands that weren't scoring any points, but when you actually play the game thoughtfully, you should get a much better score, and then you can keep playing and try to improve. Button Shy also has the Wildscapes expansion for River Wild, which adds 6 new cards that form the Wildscapes deck. Let's take a look at how that plays. The game is set up as normal with your hand of 3 and the draw deck of remaining cards, but now you'll also have an additional deck of 6 cards called the Wildscapes deck. When you place cards and you complete a protected land, let's say I place this, that's a terrible placement, but I just completed a protected land. Instead of drawing from the regular deck, I'll instead draw the top card of the Wildscapes deck to my hand. Let's take a look at each of these cards. This card is the Lucky Lake. It has 2 runestones, and additionally, the bottom edge is completely mountains, which is not something that exists in the base deck. The Sorcerer's Spikes provides a lot of animals, but it prevents the runestones from being used on any cards that are touching this card. So for example here, this runestone will not contribute an animal to this protected land when it's completed. The source runestone acts like a regular runestone. However, it can be applied to a protected land on a card that is upstream from this card. However, it cannot go through the Sorcerer's Spikes or through any card that has mountains on it. The Ancient Pillar will score 3 points if it's in a completed protected land at the end of the game. If it's uncompleted, it's unprotected, and you will lose 3 points. Its score won't be considered if this card is not played or it remains in the Wildscapes deck at the end of the game. However, if it is in your hand, you must continue playing cards until all cards are played or you're unable to place. You can't choose to end early to avoid playing this card. The Enchanted Bridge allows you to connect an unprotected land to a protected land and consider them one single protected land. All the goals and wildlife will count as one single protected land and you'll score them all together. For example, here, this unicorn will now count for this scoring goal. Last but not least, the 6th card in the Wildscapes deck doesn't have a special name or ability, but it has 4 animals in one side of the card, which is perfect for this scoring condition. Because some of the Wildscape cards can be beneficial, there's potential for higher scoring, so check your rank in the rule sheet for the expansion instead of the regular reference card. Moving on to my review, it almost goes without saying, this is a very portable game. As with all Button Shy games, it fits in your pocket, your backpack, your purse. You can bring it anywhere. River Wild is a little bit less portable because it requires a larger surface to play on. You're not going to be able to fit this on an airplane tray or anything like that. But River Wild is a nice, relaxing, cozy style solo puzzle game that I would play almost mindlessly in the same way I play solitaire with a regular set of playing cards. Except that it has nice artwork and looks really pleasing on the table when you create a flowing river. The one thing I will say about River Wild is that it's less versatile than some of the other similar Button Shy solo games, in particular Unsurmountable. They're very similar in that they're almost the opposite. River Wild starts at a peak and expands downward, whereas Unsurmountable, you have a large base and you go up to a peak. But Unsurmountable has varying difficulty levels that allow you to change up the game with just the base game and no expansions. Whereas River Wild is what it is. There's no way to change up the game within the base rule set, and that's either good or bad depending on what you're looking for in a solo game. If you want some of those extra complexities to be able to advance through the levels, then maybe take a look at Unsurmountable. But if you just want something that's always going to be familiar and you can unwind with after work or on your lunch break, then River Wild is that game. When comparing it to the entire lineup of Button Shy games, River Wild isn't my favorite, but I do really enjoy just that casual playing of it every once in a while, so I'm definitely going to be keeping it in my collection. And that's all for this video. Remember to like and subscribe for more board game videos to come.